Welcome back. All right, so as we round out the Western Conference, just two more to go, including Colorado and Seattle. Now, I expect everybody to be picking Colorado. I'm picking Colorado, obviously. But again, as I mentioned, there's going to be some upsets, and defending Stanley Cup champions have lost early on in playoffs before. That being said, Colorado 51, 24, and 7. This is their sixth year in a row in the playoffs. So once Joe Sakic got a team that could win, he's done a good job of turning that team into a contender, a champion, and now he's looking for a repeat champion, something Colorado hasn't done in their history. On the Seattle side, they're probably pretty happy to be here. This is their first chance to play in the playoffs. It's their second year. They're 46, 28, and 8. I have seen complaints about Seattle already having a playoff team, and well, they were gifted that. I don't know. If I paid $650 million for a team, I might want it to not suck. Anyways, when you look at the regular season matchups between these teams, it's close. So if Seattle can replicate this in the playoffs, this could get interesting quickly. October 21st, Seattle wins 3-2. On January 21st, it was a shootout victory for Colorado 2-1. And on March the 5th, it was a 3-2 overtime win for Seattle. So no blowout victories for Colorado. No big goaltending meltdowns for Seattle. So how's it going to work in the playoffs? Now, when we look at it from a special teams perspective, Colorado has the edge there. 24.5% on the power play versus 19.8% for Seattle, which makes total sense. Power play very often is basically a chance for your star players to show what they can do. We know the star players in Colorado ranking a little bit higher than the star players in Seattle, although Seattle can hold their own right now. On the penalty killing side, 79% for Colorado, 76.7% for Seattle. Seattle's going to need that penalty kill to really step it up in the playoffs, or this series could be over quickly. But if you look at goals for per game, that actually favors Seattle. 3.52 goals for per game. Colorado 3.34. Bit of a surprise there. Goals against per game favors Colorado. They're allowing 2.72 goals per game. On the Seattle side, they're allowing 3.07. So, when we look at the players and we look at the teams, I mean, obviously, Colorado, even if they're not going to have Landeskog for the playoffs, this is still an intimidating team, starting with McKinnon. 42 goals, 69 assists, 111 points. Again, anybody who said, well, McKinnon can't get to 100 points, he hasn't won a Stanley Cup, he's not one of the greats. He's now done both of those things. Now he's trying to win back-to-back championships. Mikko Rantanen, one of the best seasons of Finnish players had in a very long time. 55 goals, 50 assists, 105 points for him. Cale Makar, 17 goals, 49 assists, 66 points. He's missed a lot of games. They need Makar to be healthy. Makar is I think, their most valuable player. And so if they're going to get anywhere in the playoffs, they're going to need Makar to be healthy and good to go. Lars Eller's been a good pickup for them. 24 games with the Colorado Avalanche after the deadline. 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. On the maybe he's going to score another big goal side of things, you've got Arturi Lehkonen. 21 goals, 30 assists, 51 points. We have seen over the last few playoffs, when Lehkonen's in there, he's pretty good, and he's able to get those key goals. Georgiev ended up with 40 wins this year. 40, 16 and 6, 919 save percentage. He proved he can be a starting goaltender, which is great. It's great to see him get out from underneath the shadow of Shesterkin and actually have best stats that are a little bit better than Shesterkin's at the end of the year. Francouz, 8-7-1, 915 save percentage. His one start after coming back from injury didn't really turn out the way that I think he would have wanted it to. For Francouz, I don't think he sees the net unless something happens with Georgiev. But we did see last year in the playoffs, if he needs to go in briefly, he can be pretty darn good. Then on the Seattle side, McCann, their first 40 goal scorer this year, 40 goals to go with 30 assists for 70 points. Vince Dunn, best season a defenseman's had for them thus far in their history. 14 goals, 50 assists, 64 points. Jordan Eberle, 20 goals, 43 assists, 63 points. Their scoring by committee, though, was Seattle. So there is no one line that you shut down and go, there you go, we've got their attack under control. They've got 3 scoring lines. They can hurt you from any area of the lineup, and their defense is probably underrated as well. Also, you've got Ellie Tolvanen, who was picked up from Nashville. They didn't get anybody at the deadline, so I thought I'll put Tolvanen on the board. 48 games with Seattle, 16 goals, 11 assists, 27 points. Very solid numbers. And again, the amount of depth this team has is absolutely ridiculous. Brandon Tanev, you want a big goal in the playoffs. I get the feeling Tanev may provide that. 16 goals, 19 assists, 35 points. So if you're a Penguins fan and wondering where did things start to go wrong, I think they started to go wrong with the expansion draft where Seattle got both Tanev and McCann. McCann, of course, previously traded to Toronto. But yeah, I think that those two players being gone out of Pittsburgh play a large role into why Pittsburgh is currently sitting outside of the playoffs and watching as things get started for the first time in a very long time. In net, that's where the question's going to be with Seattle. And whether it's fair or it's not, that question's there still. Martin Jones has a good resume in the playoffs 27, 13, and 3 on the season, but the 887 save percentage, a little bit of a scary number there. Grubauer 17, 14, and 4, his save percentage 895. So Seattle does a very good job of suppressing shots against. I think part of the reason is just that. I think that there's a way of coaching to this where it's like, okay, we know that our goaltenders have their struggles here and there. We want to make sure they face the fewest shots possible, which should be the goal of every defense in the league, of course. But there are some defenses that do it better than others. And Seattle's pretty good at keeping shots against down. It's part of the reason that you have Jones with 27 wins and an 887 save percentage. So it will be interesting to see how this turns out. If we're looking at their records going into the playoffs in March and April, Colorado was 17, 5, and 2 over those 2 months, a month and a half. Seattle 13, 7, and 2. So Seattle, good record. Colorado, a better record. Colorado, of course, winning the division. They get the honor of playing Seattle and hosting them in their first ever playoff series. But it will be interesting to see how often for recap videos I'm wearing a Seattle jersey in these playoffs because Seattle could absolutely pull. I'm not going to say a Vegas, which is the 2018 Cup final run, but I think if Colorado takes them lightly, overlooks them on any level, things could get interesting really quickly. And remember, Seattle's crossed over into that other division, so they'll play the winner of Minnesota and Dallas if they end up getting past Colorado. And if they could beat Colorado, would they then be favored against the winner of Dallas and Minnesota? I would argue probably so. But I don't expect the Colorado Avalanche to overlook Seattle and end up getting caught not playing their best hockey. Colorado has been gearing up for this all season, and they're playing their best hockey going into the playoffs. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Which team you think is going to win and why? Is it going to be a matter of the depth in Seattle being enough to overcome Colorado? Will the loss of Landeskog hurt Colorado, or will we see new heroes take his place? Does Compher get some big goals? Do we see Byram really emerge in these playoffs? Like I know he did last year in the finals, but it feels like, if he does it through the full 4 rounds, maybe then he'll get the amount of acclaim that I think he should. Colorado has a very deep team. Seattle has a very deep team. And I think it's great that Seattle's in the playoffs for the first time in their history. As for Colorado, I haven't done my bracket all the way through yet. I have a funny feeling I may still be taking Colorado to win the Stanley Cup. But I'll have to see how the bracket shakes down. Because again, it's about matchups, right? But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.